Coach D.
I dig a short intro.
Woo!
You know what I mean? I don't like it when it rolls on and on. Boom, there we go.
What's up, man? What's up, Vested?
Vested, man.
Tech team.
Hi, tech team.
Yes.
My
Hey, Coach D.
little.
You see my shirt? I want you to know that you are awesome, Coach D. You too, tech team. Hey, you too, Vested community.
Hey, you know what? I want you to keep it jelly, Jamar. Because listen, tonight we got to talk about some stuff.
Man.
And look, growing is nice because we're expanding. But in some of the phases of growth, it's very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we got to talk about something. Okay, first I'd like to share with the Vested community how we create with the show. When we have our production meetings, we usually have an idea about where we want to grow. And this week we went into our meeting, and one of the first questions that we always ask is there something on anyone's heart that we need to discuss right now? And sometimes there is, and sometimes we kind of just get into a discussion and it like rises to the surface. But this week, Jamar, I asked you if there's anything on your heart, and I want you to tell the Vested community what was on your heart.
Oh, man. Vested, what's up? I love you. Thank you for being here and just grateful for you. And Coach D, man, we talking about opinions today.
Woo!
When we talked about that the other day when we were doing our pre-production on what's on your heart, man, I had just experienced a very strong vibration of opinions from people that I genuinely care for and who care about me. And that right there is a challenge. And sometimes they're even are the closest loved ones in our life. So, man, I'm so excited to dig into this today, to unfold it, because this is a topic that everyone experiences.
Jamar, you touched on something pretty important. You said sometimes it's your friends and your family, but when you throw a stone, an opinion, whatever, into the water, the largest ripples are the ones that are closest to you. So most of the time, the opinions that we're influenced by, even since childhood, are the people that we're the closest to. And sometimes we didn't even know it was happening. But since it's a very complicated matter, I went through the YouTubes and pulled out a bunch of videos. And this week on Vested, when we're going to inspire, create, and empower, we might have to do it a little bit differently, because sometimes the topics we're going to talk about aren't really inspirational, and sometimes creating from this place is dicey. And empowerment, well, let's lay down a definition and we'll start from there. How about that, Jamar?
Awesome too. Well, remember too, Vested community, what's the title of this message today? Opinions. Do they lift us up or do they hold us up? Coach D, I think we got a little something for him.
Let's check it.
Merriam-Webster's definition of a people pleaser is a person who has an emotional need to please others, often at the expense of his or her own needs or desires.
Ooh, straight to the point.
So people pleasing is an opinion. I think in today's very sensitive, emotional society, as we start to figure ourselves out from the inside out and then add more value to the I am, we are process, it's confusing. And we have these opinions, Jamar, and sometimes we don't even know where they came from. We don't even question them. We just toss them out there. And in doing so, as we're all trying to figure ourselves out, that's a complicated way to go about it. And we aren't always aware of how that's affecting other people. So before we get into what inspired us to talk about opinions, especially when sometimes they smell a little funny, why don't you just give me a little background. Let's get personal with you, Jamar. I want a little of that belly fire about what inspired you so significantly to want to move into this opinion idea and the whole people-pleasing aspect of it.
Well, right when we had talked earlier this week about, hey, what's the message this week? What's on our heart? And when you teed it back up to me, I was like, man, opinions, and we were figuring out the topic, the name of the show. But I had just experienced, I have different leadership groups that I'm connected to. And there was an actual couple, very amazing family, husband and wife, and they had came up to me, and they were explaining to me in a nice way how their family was boycotting me because I vote for Trump. And last year, around the end of last year, I had posted on Instagram my vote when I was voting, and I showed my ballot. I'm very bold about my political stance, but I don't project my belief. If someone wants to vote for another party or not vote, like, that's their choice. But I'm not going to hide who I vote for. And so when she saw this, now that like just created this, we already know, right, that some people just cannot talk politics. So this week when her and her husband were talking to me, and now this had happened months ago, and I just saw them in person, and the first thing they talk about is like, Jamar, we can't believe you vote for Trump. Like, this was like 6 months ago. We had this 8 months ago, we had this little exchange. And then on top of that, they asked me, hey, so are you vaccinated? And I said, no, I am not. I'm neutral. I believe if someone wants to get vaccinated because that's what's going to help them have a peaceful heart, go do it. If they don't do it. So I received 2 different very strong vibrations of their opinion on me. And it was right before I talked to you. So I was like, man, this is a topic. But if someone's not as strong, man, people will bulldoze you into believing what they believe.
Okay, let's talk about something before we get into inspiration, that we were inspired to talk about this. The passion that you have politically towards this person that you voted for, and your attitude and response towards something in relationship to your personal health that you might or might not want to do, that's going to go very, very deep, has nothing to do with your relationship emotionally to the people that you spoke with. So to me, I think one of the reasons why I thought opinions was a really good idea to talk about this week is because that's insane. I mean, with all due respect to Donald Trump and everybody that's worked really hard to come up with this vaccine, I mean, thank you very much, but I've never met any of them. And the bottom line is I'm trying to just stay healthy and do everything that I can to be positive and control the things that I can control and offer value. And even though I'm doing that, people have their opinions about the way I'm going about doing it. And I don't understand how together we can do this if we're so apart. So let's get into inspire here, Jamar, because before we're going on to a rant, let's lay some stuff down, and then
let's lay it down.
Into it, okay?
Boom.
So let's do the thing, and then we'll do the stuff, and then we'll go there and talk about all that other stuff.
Coach D, before we get started, I want to make sure Vested community knows, and that we're also culprits of opinions and projections too. So I don't want people to think that we're talking from a position that, oh, everyone else does this and not us. I'm just very aware of it. I'm more aware of it now than I have been in my life, and I'm doing my best to move through life without operating in this frequency we're talking about. But it takes work. So I just want to make sure we lay that out too there.
Well, let's also lay this out, Jamar, that vested is an opinion. Happiness is a choice, and it's not going to be something that's going to be given to you. When you surrender and you accept life as it is, you start to become aware of things, and some of it is favorable and some of it is something other. I'm choosing to move towards the favorable, but that doesn't mean that I don't get to experience all the other stuff. And I think really comes down to a perspective of how I choose to interpret my experiences. So I think there are times that we go through some difficult stuff, but we have to choose to see something different and in a different way. So tech team, let's play the video. Let's lay the foundation for some tough inspiration, and then let's talk through it.
Being someone who pleases people sounds, on the face of it, like a very good idea. But it's a pattern of behavior riddled with problems, as much for the perpetrator as for their audience. The people pleaser is someone, who might at times be oneself, who feels they have no option but to mould themselves to the expectations of others, and yet harbours all manner of secret and at points dangerous reservations and resentments. They act like the perfect lover when their real feelings are much darker. They give their assent to plans they hate, and they confuse everyone around them by failing to express in due time, with the requisite courage, their authentic needs and ambitions.
Wow. Man. Coach D, we're talking on two different tracks right here. So check this out, Vested community. One track is the opinions and how we can throw those out like fastballs. The other track is the people who's catching those opinions and being the people pleaser. So Vested, which one are you? Coach D, back to you, bro.
This is where it gets confusing, because some of the foundational premises that we have developed our opinions upon, we have learned over the last year and a half are a bit shaky. So as we've gone into this isolation, what have we done? Have we gone inside ourselves? Have we just gone inside our house? Have we continued to abuse our bodies with bad thoughts and bad emotions? Or have we taken this opportunity to really look at things? Because part of this awareness process, as we become mindful of our thoughts, we're going to have to learn to accept the idea that there's certain things that we chose that weren't necessarily the best for where we wanted to be. And we have to accept the idea that because of that, we're in a position where we might have been in a better off situation had we accepted the better us. And what that means is that we would have had to struggle through some stuff that we decided not to. We pushed it down, and when it came to integrity or resilience, we decided to do it tomorrow. And now we have to pay the piper, and we're looking at it. And some of us are banging our fists against the wall, but others of us are starting to accept the reality of this surrender idea, this happiness idea. It takes some work. And you have to accept the idea that we're a part of this co-creative process, and that when we have these opinions, we need to be very careful about how we think and feel about them, because as we project them out into the world, the I am we are process receives them, and we don't know how, because we don't necessarily know what they're going through. So tell me about your friends a little bit, Jamar. I mean, how did that inspire you to want to come out here and turn it into something special?
Man, that's a great question. Well, this is what I told them word for word as I looked them both in the eyeball. I said, listen, I hear you, and I want to tell you that I love you, but I want to say this as gently as possible. I don't care about your opinion, but I love you. And they just looked at me. And it was like, I wanted them to know right in that moment, I hear you. I want to acknowledge your feelings, your beliefs, but I want to let you know it doesn't faze me. Like, I hear you. And so at that point, it was totally cool. It was all love. It was totally neutral. But if someone is not as bold, I would say, as bold of a person in their stance, and they're in that situation, they're going to get bulldozed. They're going to get blasted. They're going to get run over by that person. And they meant well. They were very passionate about their stance. They meant well, but just because you have a position or a belief or an opinion of something, we have to really honor other people and let them have the choice to think however they want to think. Now, I am very passionate. There's people in life, Coach D, that said, "Oh, why you're," and it actually close to my family, "You're so judgmental." Well, I'm not judgmental when I'm challenging you to go higher. I'm calling you to action to go higher. I'm calling you an action to speak at a way where you're speaking power and you're speaking things into your life that you want. So if I hold you to that standard, some people may feel that they're being judged by that. But that's totally not the purpose. But that's what happened, man. And I told them, this couple, I love them. And I said, listen, but your opinion, I'm sorry, it just don't faze me, So question for you, Coach D, are you a people pleaser?
I do my very best.
I hear tech team saying no.
Well, listen, I try to offer myself completely to situations. And in some scenarios, I think it's important to be able to be sensitive to the needs of other people, yes. But there's also a need to be firm in who you are. And I really am trying to find a balance of who it is that I want to be and to try to project my best self. So what I'm going to do right now is going to get me in trouble. But for the vested community, I'm willing to take this risk. It's going to put a damper on the rest of my evening.
No.
But Jamar, you and I are both strong male opinion type people. I need to get a female's opinion on this one. So tech team, I need you. Yeah, come on, pull it up. Let me get you up there. Come on, please. Just a second. Come on. Everybody can see you anyway. Look, there she is.
What do you want?
There, tech team. There she is. Hi, man.
What am I doing?
Hi, tech team. There she is.
Well, ask me a question. What?
She has a hat. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Sorry. Listen. So Jamar just created a situation where he was like, I'm a strong person. This is what I told them. And you know that I would do the same thing. But I know that you are a very strong person and you would take a completely different approach. You would not necessarily cower, but at the same time, you wouldn't look at me like, yo, shut up. I'm over it. And I know you didn't say that, Jamar, but like you were bold enough in your stance that there were no doubting, almost to the point where probably your friends were like, oh, but like you were who you were. So Rebecca, when you're in a situation where you don't have this need to kind of like, I don't know, project it that firmly, how would you do it?
It's difficult for me because I'm a people pleaser and I'm.
Whoa! Whoa!
But I am learning, and with the help of Damien, honestly, he's the one to help me. I'm learning to not be a people pleaser, but it's very uncomfortable for me. I have a hard time not people pleasing. I just do.
Tell the vested community a little bit about the feeling that you're experiencing. If you don't necessarily know how to do it, explain how you feel so that we can get an experience of maybe how to overcome it in the future. Like what do you feel when that happens?
For me personally, I'm afraid of hurting people's feelings.
Okay.
I never want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I hold back on how I feel a lot. And what happens is I become very overly emotional, and then eventually it blares out at some point.
Like a volcano.
Like a volcano in an unhealthy fashion.
But that's real. And I think that it's important to be able to get that perspective of understanding that like a strong woman like yourself, somebody that really has firm opinions and you stand up for what you believe in. I mean, you're an advocate in the disability community, and even you on the daily experience these emotions within you, and it's not necessarily yours, but somebody that has projected it upon you. So there's an additional responsibility that you now have to bear on your shoulders in this world that's tough enough. Another emotion. So I think that the answers that probably come together, and I think we should now transition to figuring out how to create here.
Right, because the inspiration here is that, man, this is something that we all need to improve on. Like that's what's inspiring about this, man, is that this is something every single day that we all experience, and we may not even be aware that either we're the ones throwing the opinion fastballs, or we may be the ones who's talking like tech team and just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But inside we're creating these emotions because we're doing these things for people out of love, but we really don't want to do them.
Jamar, you just brought up something really cool. As we sit here transitioning in our show between inspire and create, there's this really cool gap, because what you just said is you're creating anyway, if you're conscious or not. So the inspirational opportunity, even if it doesn't feel good, is to recognize that, oh, okay, that's the case. So, whoa, maybe I should think about this. I should start to think about how other people feel. And even though you and I, Jamar, are the type of people that will put our foot down and say, this is who we are, we also have to consider the idea that there's Rebeccas in the world, and they might not say something because of our strong personality, or they want to make us happy, and we might miss the opportunity to have their opinion. So it's this really fine balance of figuring out how to do it. So we're going to have to stomp out the crap that just absolutely does not belong, because there's a lot of that right now. We need to absolutely just push that right out. And then we really need to listen to ourselves and try to find balance with where we want to fit in this creation process. What do you think?
Wow, man, let's do it.
Can we create now? I think we're already doing it.
I think we got it. I think we got
the thing. Do it.
I think I think we're gonna talk about something crazy right here. Go, let's do it.
I mean, come on.
Now, Coach D, the vested community, they're not gonna know where we're going when I say this word. Diarrhea.
It's there though. Everybody's aware of it.
Diarrhea.
Everybody's
Vested community.
understanding of it.
After you watch this video, Vested, you're gonna have a little different view when you hear the word diarrhea.
But you're gonna understand. It's all
Oh,
makes sense.
oh yeah,
It's all
you're
makes
gonna-
sense. Can we do it, team?
Sometimes you're gonna have to tell people, or that friend, occasional acquaintance, coworker, person that you really don't know, that your opinion is like diarrhea to my ear. I can't hear it, can't accept it, I reject it. You just gotta kick it to the curb. There are going to be those people that no matter what you do, it is never gonna be good enough. They will be opinionated about things that have nothing to do with them, but they're gonna find a way to make it about themselves. Just tell them, rejected, diarrhea to my ear. I cannot accept it. And would you accept it? I mean, when you think about diarrhea, it's not the most pleasant thing in the world, nor is an unsolicited opinion. Not the most pleasant thing in the world. So if you've got that person in your life who is telling you things you just didn't even ask them for, tell them, reject it. Block it, baby. Reject it. Diarrhea to my ear. Diarrhea to my ear. Reject it. And then just walk away. Best thing you could do.
Oh man, I want to give her a huge shout out, Miss Lucretia Braxton. Thank you for that message. That was part of that video. And Vested, I would encourage you to check out her whole 3-minute video when she really breaks down the opinions of people and what it feels like. So Coach D, back to you, man. That
And then just walk away. And then just walk away.
Wow. But here's the thing. You got to be willing to be okay with offending people if you don't do what they want you to do. That is the magic, man.
Okay. But, and you know this because you didn't have to come up with a strategy about how to respond in relationship to who you are. Because you're Jamar and I'm Damien. And it's like, I get to a certain point where it's just like, and then I bubble over and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I was doing my very best to fall in line and be the man that does the thing in the right way. And it's just, you know what? No. But let's jump into the position of somebody that is a people pleaser. Somebody that it's not they're people pleasing because they're trying to deceive you or that they want to lie or come across as some jerk, but it's just a feeling. They don't want to shake the boat. They don't want to come off the wrong way. They want to kind of fall into place. And the weird part is I think a lot of the discomfort that we're experiencing right now, Jamar, is that the way things have been presented to us for the last however long is starting to unfold to be not winning but learning in a lot of different circumstances. And I think we can take responsibility for it not being what we wanted it to be because deep down we know. But at the same time, there's been a lot of just kind of follow along and don't become a distraction. And we don't want to shake the boat. And everybody's boat's been shaken right now. So as we're trying to get this opinion thing figured out, I think that compassion and love and kindness has got to be a part of it, Jamar. And as much as we might be frustrated by the way other people are projecting themselves out into the world, it's really important that we are patient with their process because we'd want them to be patient with ours. And nobody likes to be told what to do. And especially when we don't really know and people are yelling and screaming at us to figure it out. And we don't really know. I'm going to wear a mask. I'm going to get stabbed in the arm with some weird friggin' serum that 4 different companies that are corporations. I mean, hey, man, it's a big, big decision. So people are going to be emotional about it. And I think that one way or another, it's important that we respect their decision.
Yes. Man, and what you just said there, Coach, you said one word, but you said it in two different ways. You said the word no, N-O, but then you said we know, as in K-N-O-W. And made me think about what you just said, is that we must master the power of saying no. No when we don't want to do something. No when we're not in agreement. No when we don't believe whatever the world is trying to project onto us. The power is not in, yes, I can do all this stuff. Yes, I agree. Yes, yes, yes. That's not the power. The power is in the no. The power is having those healthy boundaries, because what do people do, Coach D? People treat us the way we let them. People treat us the way we let them. So that right there is something, man, this is a daily process of working on getting better, man.
Well, we inspire, create, and empower. But just like there was that section before inspire and create, there's also another space here where you have the power to empower. It's up to you whether or not you let that happen within you and then project it out into the world, or if you let it happen to you. And if you let it happen to you, it's kind of tough to be able to dictate how you're going to respond, because it's from outside in. But if you come from inside out and then magnetically move towards the things that move you, you're going to find a large group of people there. And they're going to want to come together with you. And it's going to be more of a magnetic connection. And that is, in my opinion, empowerment. But the road to doing that is acceptance. And some of what we're going to have to learn to accept, and some of the things that we're becoming aware of right now, dude, they're uncomfortable. I mean, listen, read the side of any food package, and it'll tell you right there what's in it. And then you wonder what's going on with these diabetes things, and you wonder what's going on with strokes and heart disease. And it's like, look, man, all you would need to do is ask the right questions and look in the right places. And now as it's starting to all come together, and people go, oh, wait, I'm sick, and it might have to do with my choices, my thoughts, my feelings and emotions. Well, yeah, man. And everybody's freaking out. And so we got to be a little bit more open, more in surrender. Jamar, you and I have more of a responsibility than we, I think, ever have before to just be who we are. Because we have developed this awareness, and it doesn't make us special. It makes us leaders. And we have to be accepting of the idea that as people go through this process, it's going to be very difficult. It's difficult for me, and I'm not going to say it was, because I'm currently going through it. And it feels like the more I expand, the harder I got to work. So it's not like it ever gets any better. It just gets bigger and more significant. And it's like, that means you're not carrying more weight, but responsible for more expansion. So let's get into empower a little bit here, Jamar, because I got a really good video about how to start to frame all these thoughts when stuff's a little bit uncomfortable, and to be able to put it into motion, not just for us as individuals, but to be able to satisfy the I am we are process, so we can all do it together.
Absolutely, man.
Power.
Wow. What we got, Coach? This is a surprise. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I mean, we might as well play it. Go.
The best possible thing you can do for your self-esteem is to go easier on other people. Actively and consistently seek out the best in them until it's routine. Sincerely compliment and uplift even if it stings your ego at first. Acknowledge progress and expertise even if you fear yours isn't enough. Recognize beauty and strength and good character when you see it, even if it temporarily makes you second-guess your own. Your resistance towards doing this is a sign of your misperception that the more you value and appreciate other people's strengths, the more insignificant yours will seem by comparison. The opposite is true. The more you recognize someone else's authentic and unique type of success, the more you will revel in your own. The more you are able to acknowledge the beauty within an individual, the more you will be able to recognize your own. The more you give others grace for their missteps, the easier you will be on yourself. The more you love others, the more that love will extend back to you. You'll stop living in this sort of permanent competition in which you are simply never enough. Instead, you will start to see how everyone has strengths and weaknesses, highs and lows, progress and setbacks, successes and failures. You will start to see that everyone is simply doing their best with what they have in front of them. It is only from that mindset that you can begin to see your life and yourself as enough.
Man.
Woo, Jamar,
Woo.
I think we did it, baby. I think we did
Man.
it.
That was the cherry on top right there, man.
I think we did it. This was
Man.
tough. This was one that came from our heart, man. Inspire, create, and empower. I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna do it. I watched probably 30 videos, and I went through them, and I took different chunks that I thought would work, and then you sent me some chunks, and man, look, how are we gonna do it? Well, we did it. We just did it, Jamar. We inspired, created, and empowered, and it was not comfortable, man. This came from personal experience that we're currently going through, and yuck, you know?
Man. Well, you speak on empower. I share this with you guys in the pre-production, about my amazing, beautiful daughter, Khalees Faith. And I'm always teaching her that everyone has an opinion. And sometimes those opinions come from people that are very, very near and dear to us in our family. And so if you're a parent and you have children, I highly encourage you to do the best job you can with teaching your children about this topic, because we don't want our children to grow up and to learn this lesson when they're 50 years young, 40 years young down the road. We want them to learn it now. So you want to talk about empowering. The best way to empower the younger generations, especially our children, is to teach them the things that we're learning. And I'm very passionate about this topic, because it can make or break the happiness of people, when in their heart we just want to help more people. We want to, like Tech Team said, you don't want to hurt the feelings of people. But if you're the one who's always having your feelings hurt because you're letting other people blast on you, I mean, it's a very defeating place to live, Coach D.
You know what? We do this back and forth, and I want the Vested community to know that it's completely genuine. And I don't just sit there and shine light on Tech Team and Jamar because that's what you do as part of a Vested show. I do it because these two people are absolutely incredible. And I want the Vested community to know that what's empowering in this moment is that this man has taken two things that he struggles with in the last week that he's currently working through. It's part of his day, and it's not one of those things that you want to stand at a mountaintop and be so stoked on and beat your chest because you worked so hard. Earlier, when we were introducing Jamar, I gave him a nod for how incredible I thought it was that he could raise two children in a very complicated situation. And you see how awesome of a person he is. I mean, it's on his shirt, but
yeah, come on, baby. Thank you.
In a lot of ways, we don't see the hard work that goes in. We don't see that this man, I don't want to call it suffering because he's found a way to transmute it into something different. But when he runs into something that is complicated, it's not just the way he thinks and feels about it. He processes it in a way that he knows he's going to radiate it out into the world as not just Jamar, but as a father, as an influencer, and to also know that the way he influences is going to be repeated in his daughter's actions. And in whoever else is attached to the situation, they're going to hear this. They might listen, they might not, but it's going to affect everybody in a way that is going to be a part of the collective whole. So this whole I am, we are process that we're working on, it's not always easy. It's never easy. If we're doing it right, it's not easy. But Jamar has taken his difficulty and has been able to cash that coin in, the same coin that hurts, for something that adds value, because he's putting himself out there vulnerably. And he's saying, I'm going to give it my best, and I'm going to have faith because I know that I have the power within me and my creator to be able to make this work. And it might not necessarily make sense right now, but I understand that if I keep at it, that eventually things should and will fall into place.
Man.
So Jamar, you empower me, dude. And Rebecca, the way that you are able to keep things together and continue to be I tell everybody, like, there's heroes and superheroes in life, right? You see the hero because that's the one that's on the paper and this and that. You do not see the person that washes their uniform, does all the thing in the dark, and da 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 da. Those are the incredible people. But Jamar,
Right.
you are an incredible person as a father, as a human being.
Man.
Rebecca, you're an incredible
Back to
person,
you, bro.
as a mother, you're my hero. Oh, I mean,
come on, man.
I'm
Coach
empowered
D.
by y'all.
Coach,
So,
yeah, your new name is Mr. Incredible, bro. Come on, like you think about why we're here, and that's what we're talking about. Invested. What Coach D is talking about. We're always speaking to our vested community, pupil to pupil. What does that mean? Eyeball to eyeball. I got so much growing to do. I have so much learning to do. There's so many things in the world that I need to improve on. What about you? And when we come together, we all have our strengths and our talents, and iron sharpens iron, and we get better as a whole. We get better as a one. And in this world today, there's so much division, there's so much diversity. True leadership brings people together despite belief, despite culture, despite political agenda, despite religious or faith beliefs, despite social economical levels. And that's what it takes in this world. So I want to that's a call to action for the vested community, is remember that, because the world needs more people coming together right now, not creating more separation. Coach D.
Loving it, Jamar. Listen, I think moving forward, we've kind of discussed as a team that we're going to try to toss some takeaways into the wrap up. So I'm going to stumble through this first. And in the inspire section, I'm inspired by the idea that there are some ideas out there right now and some opinions that might not necessarily feel great and make a lot of sense. And I'm inspired to be able to use what I have in me to be able to help create a projection that is going to pave a better way, because I think we can all do a better job. And I think that that's what we're here at Vested to do. What we can create, my takeaway from today, is that it's going to be complicated, and that as people stumble through it, it's important for us to be able to be compassionate and to do it with love and kindness. And it is very, very empowering to see everybody become mindful of their thoughts, their actions, their feelings. For all of us to become collectively more aware. There's a big mess, man. And you know what? We created it. So let's clean it up. We're brilliant. The human race is brilliant, and we got this. We love to point at all the stuff that we're not that great at, but the bottom line is we're absolutely incredible, and we've got this. Electric cars, we're going to go to Mars, you know what I mean?
Was that a song, bro? Stuff. Was that you just bust out a rap right now?
Let's get it. Let's get the guitar out, man. You know, Dr. Dre, can I get a beat, bro? All right, but anyway, man, listen. That's the community. I love you. Jamar, I want to toss it over to you, and you tell us, give us a takeaway. Oh, we always forget the like thing, the follow, the button, the doot, and just take the thing and the bell. I don't like that, man. So do all that stuff. Digital people, on, man. I love you. Okay, so I'm going to kick it over to you, Jamar. Give us a wrap up.
Yeah.
Tell us how you feel in this moment.
Absolutely.
That's a question, my man.
Absolutely. Invested community, like Coach D's saying, if you feel value, share our message. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Share the message. Be part of our community. You are part of our community. And just know, when we're here at Vested is not about us. Vested is a mindset. Vested is a rhythm. Vested is a flow. Vested is a lifestyle, right? And just like we talked about today, this is a topic where we all got to improve, including me. Right. But I'm more aware of it now. And I'm so grateful to have people like Coach D and Tech Team in my life, because we need each other to get better. You know, so I want to challenge you, first of all, to look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you the one that's always people pleasing? Right. And also, I want to challenge yourself to look in the mirror and say, are you the one who throws the opinions like fastballs all the time, everywhere you go? And really take inventory of these thoughts and actions, and ask yourself, do they serve you in the greatest way? And so it doesn't matter what you're doing out there, Vested community. Shining your light is what we believe, what we feel the world needs right now. And that's what Vest is about. So however you want to shine your light, the question is, are you vested?